No. Yeah. Opening statement.
Chris, Rudy Gobert just picked an incredible night to have one of the most incredible games. How did you see his play tonight?
Yeah, we knew we had to have it at some point in this series, and he was awesome tonight. Just shedding defenders, 9 offensive rebounds, super active on defense, finished extremely well when he had opportunity, and they became a little more aggressive on the ball in this game, and that released Rudy's roles, which we haven't really been able to capitalize on all series. But we just trusted the right play, and I thought our guys were really good in finding him in those moments. So
The Lakers made that late run in the third quarter, and they were coming and coming. The guys, you talked about resiliency before this game. Were you seeing that through these spells?
Yeah, no doubt. I just told the guys, we didn't shoot the ball well, but I thought we were the tougher team, mentally and physically, and that's when it showed itself. We were able to withstand the run. I told them at the quarter, I said, hey, listen, after all that, we're still up 1. Let's go in. We knew we'd been good in fourth quarters against this team all series. We just needed to see a couple shots go down opportunistically. Julius was huge. He had a matchup. He just kept going and going and going, was relentless there. But guys did a great job of surviving, the motions of the game, which was always going to be a tough game. So.
Chris, just from a personal level for Rudy, he catches a lot of criticism around the league and stuff, and just to see, him come through like this in such a big moment, just what does it feel like for him?
Listen, Rudy's a winner at the highest level. He drives winning. You can not like who he is, how he does it, what he looks like, etc. When you have this guy on your team, you understand what a professional and a winner is. And, he's just such a competitor as well. And he doesn't listen to the outside noise. We don't listen to the outside noise. And no one's happier for Rudy than his teammates right now, particularly Anthony. Let everybody out there on the floor know that it was Rudy's night and nobody was around to stop him. I'd also just like to say that Julius Randle was absolutely huge in this series, man. Another guy who's had a lot of unfair criticism in his career, and he was outstanding at both ends of the floor. And, we don't win this series without Julius. Was consistently great every single night, just doing a lot of little things as well as timely things. So,
Chris, we talked about the depth and the versatility of this roster a lot, especially when you get to the playoffs, though, and teams will try to throw so many different things at you and different lineups and whatnot. What is the value of having seemingly like 10 different ways in which you can win a game?
It's as a coach, you feel pretty confident that almost every lineup combination is going to work or not work, but they're not going to be kind of super out of sync. You still have to go out and execute the different coverages that might force you to be in, or the different concepts offensively. Guys moved pretty easily between those things in this series, I thought, as they threw different stuff at us. We got a great game. I thought it was Nikhil's best game of the series. Didn't necessarily shoot it, but he made a lot of really good plays, moved the ball, cut, found the next guy, found Rudy a bunch. We needed Rudy and Nikhil desperately to come into this series, and it was perfect time today. So,
Chris, you talked before this series, before the season, about having more three-point shooting and being kind of a little bit more of a balanced attack. You mentioned not shooting well in this game, but did you like that the shots that you were generating?
Yeah, I love the shots. My God, I thought we got a ton of wide open looks. I think our guys were just tight a little bit, to be honest. They were trying to will the ball in at one point. I thought Ant didn't see it go in, so he was kind of hell bent on making one go in, and but he did a good job of mixing in just enough drives for us. But I thought for the most part, every other three-pointer that we generated was pretty much wide open. If we make those guys, early in the game, then maybe we have a better lead at halftime. But
you always want to keep shooting when you're open, but given just how cold you were in the second half. Was there a message from you or the team like, hey, we're having success finding Rudy getting to the rim. Let's focus on that aspect, or was it just run the offense as is?
Anyone who knows anything about shooting knows that what happened on the last shot has zero to do with what's going to happen on the next shot. We did say that there were opportunities to drive and multiple drive these guys, but no, we stay confident in our shot if they're good open shots in the flow. So.
Chris, I know it's not the end goal for you, but the franchise has now reached the second round, 2 consecutive seasons. That's never happened before. What can you say about the way you and your staff have been able to establish success with this franchise, and what do you think it means to the fan base to see success maintained like they've never seen it before, perhaps?
Well, certainly very proud of the accomplishment that we've had in the last 2 years and in our entire time here. I have the most outstanding staff, like super intelligent. I mean, the game plan that they put together for this series was spot on and easily conveyed to our guys, and they executed it to a high level. We are very proud of our fan base. We think we have an unbelievable fan base. We want to give them something to cheer about. I think what I'm super happy with this team right now is, we're not satisfied. We got a long way to go. We'll regroup, but we were certainly going to celebrate this because this team took a lot of shit through the season, and that was set against the backdrop of a really good run last year. But, every team is different, and every team has to come together, and every team has to go through pain, and every team has to figure it out. And this team figured it out. It's just, that's what you have to be. It's an 82 game season, and you just have to keep fighting through it. And our guys fought through it. And then I'm happy that they are able to achieve something that no other team has been able to do in the history of the franchise, which is go back to the second round in 2 years in a row. Now, there's a lot bigger goals out there, but for the moment, we'll be pretty happy about that.
Chris, you've spoken often about Christmas time, January being a key moment in the season for Julius when things really started to click in with that facilitator role. He's got a player option. It's essentially kind of a contract year for him. Just what does it say about him that in a year when he could be hitting the open market, he's been willing to take fewer shots and see his scoring numbers go down, maybe for the good of the team overall, and just what does that maybe say about him as a player in person?
Yeah, I think it speaks volumes. I mean, he understood. I think coming in, he was trying to kind of navigate everything coming in. I think he was happy for the fresh start in Minnesota. I think he was in a place where he was embraced and loved, and we just had to figure out how to best employ him. I go back to the game at the Garden. He took barely 3 shots, I think. He was just, the offense hummed in around him and through him. He played defense. And, that had to be an incredibly emotional game. Like, the maturity to do that. And we were just starting to find ourselves at that point. Like, we weren't an established product at that point in time. So he could have easily gone in there and, made it a revenge game. But he didn't. And we won that game, which was a huge win for us at the time. It kind of set us up into that Christmas run. And I thought, again, he played outstanding on Christmas Day in Dallas. And that's, just, again, it kind of all snowballed from there. And I would also say when you talk to Julius, he realizes that talent and the abilities of his teammates. And he wants to, he wants those guys to succeed as well. And he knows he needs to help create opportunities for them. So.
Chris, you said before the season we got to be cool with whoever closes, closes games, and Rudy didn't close these last 2. Go with that Nas and Julius group. I mean, how important has that just been, I guess, kind of big picture this season of that goal you had kind of sinking in with this group?
I think it's huge. It's, shows the maturity and the growth of our team. I think if you looked at some early games, there was certainly some guys who were not happy that they weren't closing, not happy that they weren't starting, not happy this, not happy that. And, they, to their credit, they put it all aside. The team started playing better. Everybody realized that, hey, it was gonna work that way, and I wasn't always gonna get it right, and I've owned that from day one. But once we started getting the results, guys could see it and feel it, and if it wasn't your night, moved on, and the next night it probably was. So, it's a little sign of maturity, which is, we'll take that.
Chris, you guys couldn't buy a 3 all night, but then not surprised that Mike is the one that comes through just right when you need it. Just his steadiness there.
Yeah, I mean that's Mike. Mike fought his tail off in this series. It was really hard for him to get in kind of any rhythm offensively. He had a lot of good looks early in the game, but if there's a guy who's got nerves of steel and going to make big shots and has made a ton of them for us, it's going to be Mike. I can't remember the play exactly, like who fed him, but when he let it go, I was like, oh, this one finally looks like it's going to go in the basket. So, and it did. Thanks, you guys.
Guys, we're going to bring 4.
JJ, just for this game specifically, that fourth quarter did seem to kind of go as previous ones had. How did you see that happen, and what were you trying to get going offensively in the fourth?
We executed great in the fourth quarter. Missed shots at the rim, missed a bunch of threes, shot 12 for 52 for the series in the fourth quarter from 3. On top of that, you lose 2 games in Minnesota, minus 12 in scoring opportunities, minus 13, and then you lose by 20 tonight. Just too many turnovers, too many offensive rebounds, and I think given the struggles scoring the ball, particularly early in the series, there's a trade-off. There's always a trade-off. You could say, oh, play a center. We couldn't score, so there's a trade-off to everything with this. But we obviously put ourselves in a position to be in the game 3 times in the fourth quarter and just came up short every time. But again, the offensive part of it tonight in particular was we missed wide open threes. We missed a couple shots at the rim. We got good looks.
No, go ahead, Mike, if you have a follow-up.
No, go ahead.
JJ, kind of going into this series, I think one of the thoughts was that because you guys had LeBron and Luka in close games, particularly on the stretch, like these are 2 of the best closers of all time. Did you see signs that their chemistry maybe in the fire wasn't where it needed to be in terms of, kind of one guy going, one guy not going? Were they together enough? Or was it kind of what you'd expect considering this team changed in mid-February, or early February, sorry?
Yeah, I mean, we played 13 games with our playoff rotation in the regular season. Bron and Luka obviously played more than that together, but these things take time. Luka just went through it in Dallas with Kyrie, and doesn't happen overnight. We obviously wished that I wouldn't call it chemistry because they have chemistry, but that part of it we could figure out better, and we were, I guess, in a better place and more comfortable with that in the fourth quarters of playoff games. But that partnership and that relationship is more than solid.
What was your message to the team after the game tonight?
I think there's always a mix of disappointment and gratitude, but certainly disappointed and not something that I ever envisioned with this team. Having to go in and talk to them, after losing the first round, but give Minnesota a lot of credit. They're a really good basketball team, and I think our guys played hard enough and did all the right things. We tried to make it work with what we had and came up a little short.
JJ, how's Luka's back doing, and what did you see from him in terms of trying to just gut it out in the second half?
I assume it's tight. I don't know. I know he could play. Obviously, he had some good stretches there in the second half, scoring the basketball.
You went with Kleber tonight. I think kind of didn't show your cards pregame about that. What was the the thinking there, and what do you think he gave you after not playing like 3 months?
Yeah, I mean, just played 3 minutes in the first half and whatever, 3 minutes in the second half. You know, we knew it was going to be spot minutes. He obviously had a very tight minute restriction, but just, you know, positional size. He's also just an incredibly intelligent player. You know, I thought it's similar to Doe, where the things that he does at a high level don't always show up in a box score. You know, but obviously would have loved if you'd made that corner three, but wasn't the only one that missed corner threes in the fourth quarter.
Missed the first, I think, maybe 1 or 2 questions, so sorry if this were asked. But Rudy, you know, he was getting the offense on the offensive glass throughout the series, but tonight it seemed like he was able to convert more of his shots near the rim. What were you seeing that I guess led to that, his more success on the
He's
inside?
really big. I mean, he's really big. You know, it's one thing if he's the only one down there, and it's another thing if there's multiple crashers. And, you know, they all have the license to crash. McDaniels, DiVincenzo in particular, Randle as well. But McDaniels and DiVincenzo are crashing nearly every shot. So you have to account for them. Plus, Gobert's just bigger than everyone.
Hey, JJ, obviously emotions are raw right now, but third seed finish obviously didn't end the way you wanted it to. But on a personal level, how would you evaluate your first season as head coach of this team?
You know, I'll use my own thoughts to evaluate myself, and I'll use what my players say and what my coaching staff says to evaluate. But, you know, I know I can be better, and I know I will get better. I don't necessarily take any satisfaction from how the year went. That's not to say I'm not proud of what the group was able to do and how we were able to figure things out on the fly and put ourselves in a position to have home court in the first round. But there's always ways to get better, and I can get a lot better.
Hey, Jaxson, how do you handle the disappointment from, you know, getting the 3 seed and things going pretty well throughout the season as a whole collectively, and that to, you know, kind of almost suddenly being out of round 1 of the playoffs? How do you process that as an individual and kind of what your role and everything was?
Yeah, I mean, it just doesn't feel real. I mean, I feel like we had a great team coming along, and I mean, after the All-Star break, I feel like we started getting it clicking a lot. So I mean, it just doesn't even feel real. The season's over.
When you were in the starting lineup in the regular season, the Lakers went 10-3. Very quickly in this series, JJ went away from you. How was that communicated to you? Did you understand the decision, and what was the feeling like especially tonight, not to get a chance to help the team?
Yeah, I mean, they told me they were up straight with me, just saying just to stay ready, and they're going to try some other things out. So, I mean, that's what coach's decision. So I respect that always.
Jaxson, in which ways do you feel like you grew this season, and what do you think you showed this year?
I feel like I grew in a good amount of certain ways on the defensive end, just stepping up, showing I can compete at that high level and not just be a backup for a team. I felt like I showed I could be out there playing more. And then obviously there's still a ton of things I need to work on, but I mean, I felt pretty good leaving the season.
Obviously, you'll be an unrestricted free agent going into this offseason. I guess what are your initial thoughts of your free agency, and how, if it did, how did the way the season ended impact your thoughts going into free agency?
Yeah, I haven't been thinking about that at all. I've just been focused on this playoff series, and so, I mean, I ain't even had time to process that yet, so we'll see.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
Austin, I guess games 3 and 4 and tonight all close in the fourth quarter, and you guys unable to prevail, and it's kind of all of a sudden the series is over. How do you kind of gauge that emotionally relative to what your hope and expectation was when round 1 started?
Obviously, this wasn't our expectation, our goal. But to be honest with you, as a group, we just didn't play good enough to, beat them. That's really it.
When you look ahead to the offseason, recognize that I think you, Luka, and LeBron only played 21 games together. What do you think you need most to reach your full potential, whether that be something from the outside or time to gel?
Just continuing to, grow together. Obviously, they're unbelievable basketball players, and the more time you spend, not with just them, but the whole unit, you're just going to become, more cohesive, more together, know exactly what, you're going to do every possession when things get tough, when you're rolling, how you want to play the game. I thought we did a really good job of that in the regular season, and we just, like I said, we just didn't play good enough in this series.
Austin, kind of a big picture question, if you'll allow it. Over the course of the season, there's been different moments where, I think right before the Luka trade, where the team was feeling really good about itself. After the Dallas game, where the team was feeling really good about itself and the different version of it. Where do you think it kind of just didn't click fully for you guys? Is there one or two things you can put your finger on as to say like why maybe that belief went unrealized?
I think there was. I really just don't think we played good. You give credit to Minnesota. They, played a really good series. But I think it come down to just us not being us. And obviously, I didn't have the series that I wanted to have. So, you can, point the finger at me. I really don't care. I wasn't, good enough to help us be successful. And, I wish I could have, did more, but I didn't. I struggled. But, you live and you learn. And I can guarantee that I'll, get back to work this off season and, be better.
Austin, you just touched on you're playing the series, but taking a step back, how do you view this season overall for you? I know you don't like talking about yourself, but just in terms of your growth and just what you showed this year.
I had a lot of fun. Forget the basketball. I enjoyed every single day going to work, being around these guys, the coaching staff, training staff, weight staff, everybody in the organization, and then, from game 1 to game 82, and now I just had a lot of fun. This is I always speak about how growing up playing with your best friends in high school, like sometimes nothing will ever top that because you've been able to play high school basketball with guys that you grew up with your whole life. But this is right up there with all that. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, I have fun. Regardless of statistics or anything, I enjoy going to work every single day and putting in the work and going to battle with these guys.
Excuse me, Austin. Kind of going back to a question that you were asked earlier. How did the last couple of months, this playoff series, how did I guess inform you of what to work on going into this offseason about what's necessary to complement the LeBron and Luka and the lineups you guys have?
Just play better. I feel like I'm, talented enough to do that, as I feel like I've proved, over and over again throughout my whole life. There's millions of people that would have, never known me if I was never in this position because, quite frankly, nobody thought I was ever going to be in this position. So I've continued to prove myself over and over again, and I'm going to go to work and do the same thing next year. That's really it. I just needed to be better, and I wasn't, and unfortunately, I can't go back and start the series over.
Congrats on the win. So, what does this series win mean to you both personally?
What happened?
What does this series win mean to you personally?
Means a lot. I mean, we beat the best player in the world. I'm like the best player ever. So, how you feel?
I feel good. I mean, it's just a start, but I feel good about it as well. I mean, especially the way we won. And he was doubted, and that's kind of just shows that we got a lot of character in the locker room.
And I know you said your daughter has been a big motivation for you, and it's a huge responsibility, as well as the playoffs. How has that experience been for you?
It's been fun, but hard because I'll be leaving for like 4 or 5 days, so she get to tripping on her mom. But other than that, it's been fun.
I got it.
Ant, back here. You've talked in the past about how much you all need from Rudy, and tonight it seemed like it embodied the type of game that you were talking about from him. What did you see? How did he help you? And what can this team be when he plays like this?
Come on, Drew.
Yeah. Rudy played phenomenal, man. He played almost 40 minutes tonight. 12 for 15 from the field. Yeah, we can't ask nothing. He had 24 rebounds.
Good.
He was a dragon tonight. Rudy was the dragon. Yeah, he was a dragon tonight, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Nah, he wasn't a dragon from Antarctica. He was a dragon from Game of Thrones tonight. Yeah, nah, he was incredible tonight, to answer your question. Yeah.
And before the playoffs started, right here, and right here, we had you mentioned to me that you wanted everybody to be talking about the Lakers. You saw everybody picking the Lakers. How does it feel now to emerge from this series victorious the way that you guys had, the way you did, and to prove those kind of people wrong?
You know what makes it feel even better is that they said Lakers in 5, and the Wolves won in 5. So I think that makes it feel 10 times better. That's like my only answer.
You can scrap the mics when you answer a question, please.
They can't hear me?
No, they can hear you.
Who can't hear me? I don't care about the TV.
And after Game 4, you said this is a team that could talk to each other. And I remember back in November, you were sitting in your locker after a loss to the Kings saying this team couldn't communicate with each other. At what point of this season did that flip for this team? And how did you guys become closer as a team? Maybe what moment did that happen for you guys throughout the course of the season?
I think the turning point for us was the game when Julius came back in Phoenix. I think that changed everything. We knew we needed him. We was missing him. And we was just missing that piece. Did Dante come back that game too? Or no?
He came back right around the same time.
Yeah. So when they came back, it kind of changed everything. Like our whole demeanor changed because we had like a team meeting with Finch and the coaches, and like they got on us, and it felt like everybody responded the right way. Like everybody went and looked in the mirror and said, it's a lot of things that I can do better for myself to help the team instead of trying to blame somebody. So we did that, and everybody became like a grown man in a sense.
Ant right here.
I got two other guys up here.
Your 3-ball just wasn't falling tonight. How frustrating was that for you? And when did you kind of make the decision that you were just going to try to put the ball on the floor?
I didn't really make a decision to stop shooting it. I still trusted it. It just didn't fall. But my teammates did a great job Julius did a great job of calling for the ball down the stretch because I would have kept trying to force it, trying to find something. But Julius had it going, and like I said, we're a team, so just give him the ball and let him go to work, realizing that he got the matchup that we're looking for.
Julius, this is obviously your first season with Rudy Gobert. I'm curious, kind of over the course of the year, sort of your perception of being like, I'm going to start in this front court with Rudy. What your perception of him was kind of coming in and how this would work, and into kind of over the course of the season, what it's been, and then what he did tonight.
I just knew he was like dominant in the paint, and he protected the rim. I've had my battles with Rudy over the years, so I knew who he was as a player. But obviously, when you play with somebody consistently, it's a little bit different. So, over the course of the year, I really had to learn his strengths and how to help him in a sense. Because when he plays at a high level, same thing with Jaden, same thing with Nas, like we can go down the line. When they play at a high level, it just takes our team to a whole different, dimension, and it makes us super dynamic. So
just learning Rui through the course of the year and how to communicate with him, all those different type of things. It was a process, but when he does what he does tonight, you see how good we can be as a team.
First off, congratulations to all three of you gentlemen on the series win today. Julius, for you, there was a point in this series where I see you pretty much can get where you wanted to get when you wanted to get there. First part of the question, when did that come about in the game? And second part, did you see anything that they were trying to do schematically to try to take the ball out of your hand, or did you see them wanting to go one-on-one and you're just tunnel vision at that point scoring how you want to score and who you want to score on?
Yeah, I mean, when we started the series in the beginning, we kind of knew, their defense and, scheme-wise how they like to play. So, I mean, it developed over the course of the series. But, honestly, when you play next to five, it make the game a lot easier. You know what I mean? Because they throwing 2 or 3 people at them. So you just got to be, willing to move and be in the right spaces on the floor. And, you got to be able to take advantage of that. So, I mean, it's not a person in the world that can guard him one-on-one. So, it's, teams are throwing everything at him. And, I always tell him, go be great. But, if you need me, I'm right there for him. So, I just try to make the game easy on him by, attacking and putting pressure.
First question is for Nas. I got to give you an A on the group project, bro, because you made some big shots this whole series, bro. But just, going in with that, with Coach Finch and his trust with you, we were looking at some film with Kyrie, and he was saying how you and Ant would be on the same side, and you'll be on your left side, and just Finch was just putting you in the right spots and making sure you were shining through and running plays through you to make big shots. How did you feel in that situation with you and his relationship and things that he's shown you?
Yeah, I mean, just the sign of trust. I've been with him for 4 years now. He's seen me grow each and every year in every aspect. I mean, like I said before, he said it himself, I could be a starter at any point or any time on any team. So, I mean, that's just the kudos that, to my work. And, he's seen me, like I said, day in and day out for the last 4 years, put the work in. And it's this level of trust that, I put myself in from being undrafted and, being into a situation where, I could get a chance to win with these guys.
Yep. And then Ant, Ant, with you, just wanted to ask you about film study with you. I mean, they were showing a lot of smoke blitzes, what we call, where it was looked like a zone, but it wasn't there. No, not tonight. They were blitzing you tonight a little bit. Yeah, they were trying to, yeah. But I'm saying, just you talking about game 2, and I remember you said you want to go back in the film room. How much has you being in the film room helped you this year, and how have you seen that leap in terms of you being able to read plays and make all the passing reads that you did? Because I feel like that's a huge improvement, and I really like the way you've adjusted to that.
I think the thing about watching film is you got to be willing to accept the bad. I think most people, they only want to watch it when it's good. So I want to watch the games when I play bad, like a game tonight when I play bad. Like, what could I have done better? And I think that's the perspective that helped me change as far as my playmaking and seeing the floor. I want to see what I can do better. And, I think that's what we did after game 2. Me and my trainer, C. Hines, we just watched 4 in the morning. He called me like he woke. I'm seeing stuff. I text Drew a couple clips like, hey, this is what I'm seeing. And they came out and helped me a lot that game 3, and then it just gave me energy and rolled over to game 4 and 5.
And what's it been like, obviously, the coaching staff, they're always working with you on what they want you to do, but then also the collaboration of you being like, I actually think I can do this, and them kind of learning maybe how you can kind of go outside some normal boundaries because of what you can do. What has it been like just kind of going back and forth and them realizing the different things they can do with you and you kind of also doing what they want to do?
It just comes with getting better. Some things I'm not the best at, some things I'm really good at. So, like I said, just playing to my strengths and not trying to go towards my weaknesses. And Finch do a great job of keeping me away from those.
Last one, please. For all of you, there's the different ways in which you guys won the games this series give you confidence of how far you guys can go in the postseason?
Yeah. I'll just say because how deep we are as far as our bench, I feel like our bench is almost better than our starting 5. We got starters on the bench, so it's hard to beat guys that come in with so much energy. Nas, Nikhil, Dante, they come in with so much energy that it gives us energy in the starting 5, and the shot-making ability on the benches just takes us to another level.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Rui, how do you mentally handle this? I start right here. Going into the off season, when you guys had a lot of hope and belief in what you're going to be able to do, and to have it kind of end in this way, and just what do you feel like will stand out to you the most as you head into the summer?
I mean, it sucks, you know. We definitely didn't expect Jazz to get eliminated in the first round. We are pretty, you know, we felt very good about it before this series started. So, yeah, it's just, yeah, it's kind of sad, you know.
What do you think this team needs in order to match up the expectations you have for yourself with the performance in the postseason?
I mean, you guys can see the score, you know. We didn't get the rebound, you know. We need somebody to get rebounds. You know, I gotta be one of them. You know, start more engaging the rebounds, of course. I can't just be face-to-face, boxing out Gobert the whole game, you know. I can get a rebound, you know. That's the whole thing. He's 7'2", you know, 7'5" wingspan, whatever. He's a big man. And the problem was, I think, because we're trying to help Gobert put on two guys, and the other guy, you know, diving into offense, rebound, and it's easy, you know. And it's not only him. The Gobert is not only the guy that can get rebound from them. You know, most of the other starting five, except Mike Conley, can, you know, get a rebound. So I think that was the game for us.
Rui, I know you just mentioned the rebounding, but as someone who is playing out of position a lot and playing up at center, or you know, depending on the matchups, like how physically taxing was that with you guys playing so small for really since mid-January on?
It's tough, you know. Unfortunately, I'm not a 5-man. I'm 6'8", 240. It's tough, you know. It is what it is, you know. You know, the coaches trust me to put me in the situation. You know, I try to fight through that, but you know, there's a limit to it. You know, like I said, you know, that's only I can do is literally facing God, and you know, maybe I can tap. You know, I can't just go get rebound like that. So it's tough, but you know, that was our team situation this year, and it is what it is. And yeah, I don't know.
But Rui, when you take a step back, this is, I think, fair to say, the most consistent role you've had on the best team you've played for up to this point in your career. What did JJ and his coaching staff believe do for you in the season that you had?
I think that from the start, you know, they trust me on our offense, defense, everything. They kept telling me shoot more threes, be aggressive on defense, be aggressive on the rebound, basically everything. You know, I think those stuff, it helps me. You know, as a basketball player, of course, and I think I was able to help this team to get to this point. So, yeah, I'm thankful to that.
八村選手、本日は今季はどうもお疲れ様でした。今季本当にこのチームに必要なピースとしてかなり成長されたと思うんですけれども、どれくらいワークハードされたのか教えていただけますか。例えば今までと違うことだとか何かありましたら。
そうですね。このチームとして役割を渡された中で、体作りとかそういうところを意識しましたし、シーズンも。スターティングでずっと試合も出るってことを分かってたので、その長い時間試合に出れて、80試合できるっていう目標をしてやってたので、その中でその体作りを意識してやってました。
あと一つ確認だけしたいんですけれども、この夏は前の夏はもうレブロンとは練習はされたんですか？
そうですね。
もうされたんですね。はい、わかりました。ありがとうございます。
お疲れ様です。今シーズンはそのスタッツの面でももちろん出してましたけれども、スタッツとかと関係なくその チームに必要な小さなところ、いろんなところでチームをヘルプするっていうことがかなりできてたと思うんですけども、その辺の自分のやりがいっていうんですかね、そういったチームが勝つことにいろんな面で絡めるということのやりがいがどれぐらい感じてらしたか教えてください。
そうですね、そのケミストリーとかもそうですし、こういうコア選手が今集まってて、その中で新しい選手が入ってくるということで、そのコア選手の中のケミストリーはすごい大きかったんじゃないかなと思いますし、それのやりやすさっていうのもあったと思うので、そういうところはまだこれからどういうふうにオフシーズンこのレイカーズがやるか分かんないんですけど、続けてたらいいなと思いますね。
八幡選手、お疲れ様でした。ここ数シーズン、年々レベルアッププレーしていると思うんですけれども、来シーズンへ向けて、ここをさらに伸ばしたいというところがあれば、教えていただけますか。
そうですね、今シーズン終わったばっかりなので、まずは体をケアして、その疲れが溜まっていると思うので、それをやってからの自分のどういうふうに方針していくかっていうのも決まると思うので、そこはしっかり自分でも考えていきたいなと思います。
Feels good. Feels good, just finally getting some of the balls coming my way, and also my teammates finding me offensively. But it's about winning, and earlier in the series, when we won and I think 2 points, 6 points, I thought we were playing the right way as a team. So, sometimes the ball is not coming, but somebody else is getting wide open shots, and if we play winning basketball, it's always a good thing for me. So, that's the strength of our team. And every given night, it can be somebody else.
Did you know early on that you would have a night like this? Could you feel it coming, or how did you just see it unfold in front of you?
Over the course of the series, I felt like it was getting harder and harder for them to keep me off the boards. They had a lot of energy early on, and throughout every game, I felt like it's just hard for them, to keep me off the board. It's a lot of effort, and last home game, I felt like I had a lot of great position, but the ball was bouncing opposite way almost every time, and I knew that there was going to be a game where I get a little bit more luck and it comes my way, and I just had to be better at finishing.
Rudy, earlier on in the series, they were trying to get you out on an island and isolate you in games 1 and 2 here, and then they stopped doing that. You take some pride in that?
Of course, that's what I love to do. That's what I live for. Guarding the best players in the world. Whether it's pick and roll, switching, isolation, anything. I enjoy those moments, and it's. I thought as a team, more importantly, I thought we did a great job being on the same page defensively, being able to execute all the coverages that we wanted to put out there, and then I just had to be myself, and my teammates trusted me in all these different situations, and I trust myself in these situations.
Just what were the emotions like when you checked out of the game and the bench kind of mobbed you the way that they did, and with the 30 seconds left there?
It feels good. I love these guys. We've been through a lot, and whether it's the younger guys or or the veterans, we have a special group. These guys put a lot of work every day, and they always. Those are the things that we don't see, obviously, from the outside. But these guys have been amazing all year. Keeping the spirits high and putting some hard work with consistency every day.
Rudy, last year things didn't go your way against Luka Doncic and the Mavericks. It goes your way this year. How much level of, I don't know if vindication is the right word, but how gratifying is this series victory for you?
It feels great. But my vindication is not about beating a specific person. It's about winning a championship, and we got a little more work to do for that.
Bonsoir Rudy, par ici. Tout à l'heure, le coach Finch a dit que malgré les critiques que vous pouvez subir, notamment d'autres joueurs en NBA ou d'autres personnes, vous n'écoutez pas en fait le bruit extérieur. Est-ce que vous pouvez développer un petit peu là-dessus, et ce genre de match met peut-être en relief cette capacité à se concentrer sur l'essentiel?
Écoute, j'entends un petit peu le bruit. Depuis que j'ai commencé le basket à l'âge de 12 ans, j'ai toujours entendu le bruit. J'ai toujours entendu voilà, personnes qui croyaient pas en moi. Et j'ai toujours essayé d'être au-dessus de ça. J'ai toujours cru en moi et ça m'a poussé à travailler encore plus dur toute ma carrière, toute ma vie. Donc, partie de ça, pour moi, c'est positif en fait. C'est positif que les personnes, voilà, ils me poussent à être meilleur chaque jour, et que ce soit les gens qui m'aiment et qui me soutiennent ou les personnes qui me critiquent. C'est moi qui écris mon histoire et je vais continuer de l'écrire, et quand l'histoire sera finie, eh bien, je sais que voilà, j'aurai pas de regrets, et de là où je suis parti, c'était pas gagné. C'était pas gagné, donc on va continuer d'écrire l'histoire, et puis on verra les prochaines pages du livre.
Ouais, Rudy, bravo pour cette qualification.
Merci.
Voilà, le fait que les JO, pour toi, ça a été un petit peu compliqué, est-ce que ça a renforcé ta motivation, ton envie de performer dans ce genre de match-là? Est-ce que ça a changé quelque chose
Non, pas vraiment. Pas
que tu
vraiment,
t'en
parce que
sers
je connais ma passion pour ce sport et pour la compétition et pour gagner. Et que ce soit cet été ou tous les étés ou maintenant en play-off, je vis pour ces moments-là. Je travaille dur tous les jours pour ces moments-là, et je connais ma valeur, tout simplement. Donc voilà, bien sûr, j'aurais aimé avoir une médaille d'or, bien sûr, j'aurais aimé rentrer dans le 4e quart-temps contre les Américains. Mais voilà, c'est tout ce que je peux faire, c'est contrôler mes actions et mon travail et comment j'impacte sur le terrain. Et c'est ce que j'essaye de faire et je vais continuer de faire.
Tu t'es nourri de cet épisode un peu olympique compliqué? Est-ce que ce soir, par exemple, c'est un truc qui te sert pour jouer encore plus dur, être encore meilleur?
Écoute, toute l'adversité que je traverse dans ma vie et dans ma carrière, c'est forcément, j'essaie de toujours de m'en nourrir pour progresser, pour devenir plus mature et pour devenir plus fort. Ça n'a jamais été utile, je pense, de s'accabler sur son sort et de pleurer. Je pense que voilà, il y a toujours une remise en question à se faire, et il y a toujours, pour moi, c'est toujours ok, il faut que je sois meilleur, tout simplement, et c'est ma mentalité.
Rudy, félicitations. C'est un match monstrueux. Je crois que c'est record de points, record de rebonds en play-off. Vous étiez... à quel moment vous avez eu conscience statistiquement de la qualité du match? Et aussi, est-ce que vous avez été surpris qu'on ne vous envoie pas plus de taille du côté des Lakers, qu'il n'y ait pas plus de résistance?
Écoute, j'avais aucune idée jusqu'à la dernière minute. J'avais aucune idée de mes stats. Bon, j'avais une idée des points un petit peu, mais j'étais vraiment les rebonds, j'avais aucune idée. Et voilà, mon but, c'était vraiment de dominer et d'être présent sur le moment. Voilà, peu importe que j'ai 2 ou 20 points, voilà, d'être prêt pour la prochaine action, la prochaine opportunité, et de finir ce match et de gagner ce match. C'était vraiment mon focus ce soir, et voilà, j'étais prêt à tous les différents ajustements que les Lakers, que JJ Reddick aurait pu faire. Voilà, on savait un petit peu comment on allait s'ajuster à ça offensivement et défensivement.
Rudy, you have bigger goals, obviously, but what is kind of, I guess, the level of satisfaction? You know, when this team went through so much during the season, you had periods where it was not easiest and not smoothest, but to be able to gradually come together and find it and get to this point.
It feels great. You know, we have a lot of guys that are underdogs. You know, they've been underappreciated their careers. I'm thinking guys like Julius, for example, Mike Conley. Obviously, Ant is a young superstar that still has a lot to prove. But you know, we have a bunch of guys that never had anything handed to them, and you know, we had a tough beginning of the season. You know, some growing pains, but knowing this group of guys and knowing our mentality and how resilient we are individually and collectively. I never doubted this group. I always thought this group had an opportunity to accomplish something special, and everything that we went through earlier in the season was just whether it's offensively, defensively, as a group, it's all things that we are seeing now and we are going through now, but now we are ready for them. And it feels good, in a way. Like maybe if we don't go through that adversity early on, we get stunned in the playoff. So it's I think everything happened for a reason, and everything prepared us for this moment. And it's we still got a lot of room to grow, but it feels good to see this group of guys just being rewarded for his resilience and and our work as a team.
Hey, Rudy, I understand it took time, but why do you think the fit with you and Julius has worked so well?
I think we both want to win. We both want to win, and we both work our ass off every day to get to that goal that we both, neither of us have accomplished yet. And we want to see each other win. I was telling Julius after the game. I mean, you've got a lot of disrespect your whole career, and so do I. So it's it's a good opportunity for us to write our own narrative, and winning does that.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Rudy.
LeBron, LeBron, you've been through it all in the NBA. Just wonder how you go into an offseason after year 22, when you probably had high hopes heading into the postseason that end abruptly like this.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, obviously, for me, since my first NBA Finals appearance, I think in 2007, the moment I got an opportunity to be a part of that and taste that feeling, from there on, every season that I did not make it to the finals or did not win a championship has been a disappointment. So it'd be the same for me, it'd be the same off season of disappointment and unfulfillment, have an opportunity, to play longer and give yourself an opportunity to play for the Larry O'Brien Trophy. So nothing changes for me.
The fact that you're going to enter into an offseason on a roster that has Luka Doncic, that secured the number 3 seed in the West in a really tough West this year, what type of thoughts does that give you about your end game? And how many more years will we see you play?
I don't know. I don't have the answer to that. Something I sit down with my family, my wife, and my support group, and kind of just talk through it and see what happens, and then just have a conversation with myself on how long I want to continue to play. I don't know the answer to that right now, to be honest. So we'll see.
LeBron, kind of too along those lines. There's belief, and teams always believe to a degree. This team had like that real. It seemed like that real, genuine belief. Did that energize you in ways, and challenge you mentally and physically in ways that you could see wanting to do more of this? Having that opportunity?
No. I walk into the practice facility and walk into this arena with high energy all the time, and I just try to spill that to my teammates. I try to spill the belief into my teammates, play as hard as I can, do whatever I can out on the floor while I have the opportunity to do it, but I think the only thing is it's up to me if I want to, continue to play or how long I want to continue to play. It's ultimately up to me, so it has nothing to do about anybody else.
You've taken on so many different challenges in your career. Being paired mid-season with another ball-dominant superstar, it was one that you'd never had before. How did that go? What were the challenges with that? In what areas do you think that pairing could be better in the future with more time?
Yeah, anytime you make an acquisition or a big acquisition in the middle of the season, it's always going to be challenging. And not only for me, but for AR and for the rest of the group on how we're playing. I mean, we went from, the ball, wanting to touch the ball in AD's hands, either off pick and rolls or off post ups or off elbow catches. But it started with myself and AR kind of handling the ball handling, and then making sure we got 80 the ball. And the whole obviously dynamic changed. When we made the acquisition of Luka to, how can we change our approach to best fit his game, and how can we center our game around his. I think it's always challenging when you make like I said, a big acquisition like that. There were times where we, obviously didn't look so well, a couple games early on. But I think we kind of figured it out, kind of later in the season. The more and more games we had, I still don't think we had enough time to mesh. But for the time that we had, I thought we ended the regular season very well to, be top 3 in the West. And obviously, we know how tough the West is. I thought that was a good test for us. And, we had some challenges, but I think, ultimately having a guy like that is very dynamic for any franchise.
LeBron, how did, I think it was the final 12 games you guys played when you had your full unit after you returned, how did the end of the regular season, but also this series inform, from a team-wide perspective, the areas of improvement for next season?
I don't know. I mean, obviously, we don't even, man, listen, it's a business too. So you don't know what the roster will look like next year, besides the guys that's locked into contracts. So we don't, I got a lot to think about myself. So I don't know what the roster will look like. I don't know what I'm, where I stand right now. But I think whatever happens, I think JJ is going to continue to grow. I thought he had a hell of a rookie campaign for a rookie coach. And it's a lot different being a rookie coach. It's already hard being a rookie coach in the NBA, and it's a hell of a lot harder being a rookie head coach coaching the Lakers. It's a whole nother ball game. And I thought he handled it extremely well. I thought he just learned every single day. He held us accountable. He pushed us. I thought JJ and his coaching staff were great throughout the whole season. And that was pretty cool. So that's one thing for sure that you guys know for sure that would be. And here is a great, a great coach, up and coming coach that would be great for many, many years.
Last two, we're going to end with Jovan and Melissa.
LeBron, basically from mid-January on, right when AD got injured, you guys started playing a lot of centerless basketball, and that required a lot from you and Doe and Rui and then Vando once he got back. Just from a physical, taxing standpoint, how tough was that for the last 3.5 months to play that style, and do you feel like that caught up at all in this series?
No comment. I'll never say that because my guy AD said what he needed, and then he was gone the following week. So I got no comment. I put that uniform on every night. I gave everything I had, and that's all that matters.
Hey, Bron. With everything that you've accomplished, where does playing alongside your son rank, especially considering everything that he's overcome?
Number one, for sure. That's easy. It's not even close. To be able to play the game that I love and to be able to be along my son this whole year has been one of the most gratifying, satisfying journeys I've ever been on, just to see his growth from the moment he was drafted when we were all in New York at the draft party to seeing him in Summer League, struggle early on in Summer League and pick it up towards the end, to get on the floor with him in preseason for the first time. I believe it was in Palm Springs, to getting on the court versus this Minnesota team, game one, and just to see what he was able to do every single day by just, just channeling his mind and his work, just putting in the work and just seeing how much he grew from, like I said, the moment from he was drafted to, doing what he was doing in the G, getting opportunities with us. Super proud of the shortcomings that he had when we played in Philly. I thought that built so much character. And it showed when we sat out a lot of guys at that home game when we played Milwaukee. And I just thought that he has a bright future because not only can he play the game of basketball, he's just a great fucking kid, and you can ask anybody, any one of his teammates, any one of the coaches. He's just a joy to be around. And I have to say that I have a lot to do with that. Appreciate it.
Oh, man, fuck.
Hey, Dorian, the way that things worked out, you ended up playing pretty small for a lot of the portion of the season, and it worked well enough to get you to the 3 seed. How do you feel like that, as a part of kind of this series, the challenge of that against this specific opponent, and just how did you kind of process how this round 1 series went?
Well, the lineup was, we struggled tonight, but overall I feel like we've been pretty good, especially leading to the playoffs. They did a good job of, combating the small lineup, and that's crashing. They big. Jaden McDaniels like 6'9", 6'10", and he crashing hard. You got Julius crashing hard and Rui. So Rudy, it was just a tough matchup. He got to go in tonight. I felt like we did well on him, the rest of the series, but tonight he took over.
And then just how do you reflect on your first year here, the trade, and then Luka's acquisition, and as you look forward into the summer and next season, Dorian?
Being here has been amazing. Making to the 3 seed been fun. Luka coming in February was, a big surprise to many, especially me. Happy to be back with my dog. Just mad right now though that our season ended.
Dorian, you have a player option for next season. Have you thought about that at all?
Nah, not really. Just trying to get to the second round, man. I worry about that, around the draft part and summer league and all that stuff. So, I know if we're the one, it'll handle itself. So.
Dorian, you mentioned wanting to get to the second round. If you do return to the same, pick up the player option, what did this series, I guess, tell you or inform you about what this team needs to make sure you guys reach your goal or get closer to it next season?
We just probably need a little bit more time together, first of all. Sometimes when you got that time, you can really get on each other without, thinking about somebody else's feelings. And they was the better team this series, to be honest. They shot 10 more times each game. They won a possession game for sure.
Dorian, I know it's fresh right now, the season being over, but in the offseason, what are the aspects of your game you want to improve and work on?
I just continue to be me. Shoot the ball when I'm open, shoot with confidence, attack closeouts. That's about it. I'm 30. I'm 31 years old. I'm kind of stuck who I am. So I would say just get to know the guys around here a lot more. That's about it.
DFS, you say you talked about it's your second time being with Luka. Can you talk about the growth that you both had from the first stint with him to this experience with him as well?
You just hear him talking a lot more. The second time around, he definitely a better communicator than what he was when we was in Dallas. You know, I know he mad right now. You know that the season ain't go how we want it, but you know we healthy. You know, and all we can do is focus on next year, to be honest. But he, you know, he top 5 player in the league. He for sure a bigger star than what he was when I was with him 3 years ago. Yeah, appreciate y'all.
Hey, Jared, where do you ultimately feel like the team fell short in this round 1 series, and how does that inform you as you go into the offseason now, kind of both as an individual and what you think about the team?
I mean, as a team, I think we, considering everything that happened this year, I think we did a pretty good job, man. I think we fell short a little bit in the series, just kind of doing some of the dirty work. I think they beat us to all the dirty work. And especially when stuff ain't falling, shots ain't falling. I think tonight, shots wasn't really falling for either team, man, and it came down to just dirty work stuff.
And then just how do you, what's your kind of thinking as you approach the offseason about your game? You know, you just kind of got back in January from the injury, and kind of where you're at and where you hope to be to start next season.
For myself personally, I'm excited, man. I haven't had a healthy offseason in like 2 years, man. So, you know, this last summer coming off multiple surgeries and not being able to work out all summer. Yeah, I'm just excited to be able to have a healthy summer, man, so I can really put the time in and, you know, being able to work on my game and also, you know, have a healthy summer.
Vandal, kind of on that note, to your left, how would you describe, two-part question, how would you describe your personal season in light of not having a healthy summer, missing, I think, the first 3 months of the regular season, and then playing, I think, 36, 37 games before the playoffs?
I mean, obviously, I hold myself personally to a high standard, so obviously I feel like I can always do better and could have had a better season, but considering the variables, like, you know, not having a training camp coming in mid-season, you know, missing 7-8 months of basketball due to surgeries, you know, I'm just happy to even be in this position, man, to overcoming the adversity that I did and, you know, being able to, like I said, come back from multiple surgeries and still being able to make an impact. So without a summer, without a training camp, without really, you know, being able to put a lot of time and work in due to it being a, you know, a current season. So like I said, I'm excited about this summer for me, just being able to have a healthy offseason and, you know, put some time in.
I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I would imagine this is the most small ball 5 that you've played in the NBA. How did that go for you in terms of being in those small lineups, and do you feel like that's something that's replicable going forward with this team for yourself personally?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is my first time actually being in the small ball lineup, like, consistently. Obviously, you know, for stretches of the game previously I probably had, but I mean, it was an adjustment, not only for me, but a lot of guys, you know, kind of playing out of position and being able to, you know, just having to adjust and adapt. That's what it was, you know. At times, our small ball lineup was the most effective lineup, but, yeah, like I said, had to be by committee. You know, we were kind of small in size as far as not having, you know, a footer down there, but, yeah, it was an adjustment, but, you know, I think we did the best of what we could.
Luka, first, just quickly, how was your back, and how did it kind of come through for the rest of the game after you had that fall?
I mean, it's not good at all, but, you know, I tried to go. So that's it.
Been a crazy couple of months. What stands out the most to you right now after a tough series loss?
I mean, obviously sadness. I think I didn't play the way I should. I think as a team we didn't play the way we could. But I think congratulations to Minnesota. They played hell of a series. They were the better team, honestly.
You follow up the finals run last year with the first round exit this year, and obviously where you were playing was out of your control. What's your thought process in terms of like what you need to do to reach your goal to win a championship, whether it be your individual contributions or what this team needs to do to get towards that goal?
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously a lot of different things we can do. I can do. Obviously, everybody got to get better, and we're gonna have a long summer, and we should focus on what we can improve as a team, as individuals, so everybody.
Luka, I know we're still 3 months away, but we probably won't get to talk to you before then. So August 2nd, you're extension eligible. Have you thought at all about your future in the summer?
I didn't think it yet. I've been focused on basketball, so obviously this is the time, now to think about everything.
Luka, slightly along those lines, how was your time as a Laker? Big picture, after kind of shaking off the shock, or as much of it as you were able to shake off from the trade, what did you think about your time here, and can you see some sort of long-term future for yourself in this city and this organization?
Yeah, I mean, it's been great, honestly. The way the fans accepted me, it's been amazing. The way the community accepted me has been amazing. So I'm really glad that I'm here. I had a great couple months. Obviously trying to learn about everything, about the city, about the team. So just trying to process everything.
Luka, going through something like you did that was so huge, what do you think you've taken out of that experience mentally in terms of being tougher, or anything else that you've taken out of that?
Honestly, I don't know. It's just I'm mentally kind of exhausted for everything that happened. I know a lot of people won't believe me, but I am. So it's just, I think now it's time to process everything through it.
Luka, you had just a couple of months with JJ as a coach, but in those months, what did you make of him as a coach and the relationship you guys were able to build upon after being teammates back in Dallas?
Yeah, I think he's a hell of a coach. Not many coaches do the stuff he did in his first year, his rookie year, or whatever you want to say it. So I'm really glad I got coached by him this couple months. I feel sometimes like I'm back in Europe a little bit, so I love it. We have a great bond, so it's been nothing but amazing with him as a coach.
Luka, I asked LeBron this, but when you get traded midseason and you move to a situation where you're a dynamic ball handler, Austin Reaves is a dynamic ball handler, LeBron obviously is the best scorer in the history of the NBA. Where do you think you guys were at in the process of figuring out the best way to play with one another? And do you think that at all was a factor in kind of the fourth quarter struggles in this series? I think you guys only averaged 17 points in the fourth quarter with some of the best closers in the NBA.
I think it might be not. So I don't really know. It's tough to get that chemistry in the court without any practices. So I'm really excited to have the preseason with those two, so we can learn about each other on court a lot. I look back like with Kyrie when he got traded to the Mavs. We didn't really connect on the court. Like we didn't really know each other's games. Obviously, you see the game, but you don't see in the game as teammates. So we can see next year we kind of we had preseason together, and it was just amazing. And that's how I look at it. It's tough not having practices and that stuff, but I'm excited about the preseason, having together, learning about each other.
Luka, ¿qué significa representar la playera de los Lakers? Siempre se habla que los jugadores del equipo se crecen contra esta franquicia. ¿Y crees que si es tan grande y sientes esa presión como lo que representa Real Madrid en Europa?
Bueno, no diría presión, pero es un orgullo representar uno de los mejores equipos del mundo. Y yo no diría que es presión, es como he dicho, un orgullo representar los Lakers.
Hey, Luka.
Bless you.
This was obviously the toughest season of your career, through the shock, through the criticism, through the narratives, through it all. What did you learn about yourself?
I don't know what I learned by myself. Like I said, I think now it's going to be time to process everything. Just emotionally, just going through it all, looking back. So I'll let you know in the preseason what I learned by myself.
Luka, I wanted to zoom in kind of on this actual game. You scored 13 points in that third quarter, kind of helped propel that run that gave the team a second chance there to win the game. What did you see out there that you were able to take advantage of during that period?
I think we're just, defending well. Then we play with a lot of pace. So I just think of that, we're sharing the ball, we get everybody involved. So I think just that got us that spark.
Thanks, Luka.
Thank you.